Yo, 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 what it do? What it do? It's that wrestling dude. And I'm joined here with the star of the show, Pro Wrestling Action's Marvel's champ and Pride of Wrestling's women's champ, the Hollywood Horror Lexi Gomez. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, dude. What's
Absolutely,
up?
absolutely. Stop right in. Let the people know how long you been doing this, who trained you, where you based out of.
Well, I started training in Orlando. I've gotten to have the opportunity to train under like the likes of like Santana Garrett and Pops RIP in the Wild Simone WXW. I got started about I've been doing it now, I would say for a good 6 years.
Okay.
I would say 5 years total of like actually doing shows because there was some time where I took some time off and when I first started training and all. So I would say like a good solid 5 years. Based straight out of Florida, but I've been able to travel and see some of the country with wrestling. So that's pretty cool, and I plan on doing more of that in
That's awesome.
this next year coming up. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So you a lifelong fan?
Yeah, I feel like I'm one of the girls though that kind of I grew out of it when I got a little older. I started doing other stuff that I was obsessed with as a teenager, and then I stumbled across like TV tapings when I was like a teenager, probably like 16, 17, and then fell in love with it all over again, and even more because I'd never been to a live show before. I didn't even know that you could go to a live show. And so I, accidentally stumbled across it and fell in love with it.
Do you have one of those first moments or things that stand out to you that made you fall in love?
Um,
Because I always thought of it, and I can't like I can do like maybe the earliest memories, but like people have that first thing. Oh, I saw Andre face this guy, and it instantly I was hooked.
I mean, I was like you said, like I'm a hook. Like I remember having like the first thoughts I remember and like memories I have of like watching wrestling was definitely like impersonating The Rock as a kid. Like, do you smell what the Lexi's cooking? The brow, like he was definitely one of my favorites, and I remember that really drawing me into it was like hearing him talk and like but I would say for a moment that I kind of like fell in love with it again was when like I said, I stumbled across this at Universal, and that's when like TNA were doing like the tapings there. And I remember when I walked into the building, it was like a random like X Division match, and I heard that Matt Hardy was going to be there, and I remember like I ran up to like the guardrail, and I was got there just in time for one of his matches, Jeff Hardy's match. Actually, he was coming out on one of like a scrap, can't remember who was in there, and I remember like putting my hand out and like being like a huge fan and getting high five and like getting like so giddy, and that's when I really fell in love with it again. Because like it's like a whole different atmosphere when you're there in person and you're getting to cheer and boo. So I would say definitely around like that era, that time for me was when I really like got hooked and fell in love with being a fan again.
That's funny. The impact I should go to the TNN too at Universal, and it's totally different when it's a smaller setting like that compared to like
Yeah.
going to like an arena show, whether it's Raw or SmackDown.
Yeah, like that was me. Like I would literally go there. I remember like as soon as I started like when I was like leaving the park and I was like soaking wet. I got off one of the water rides and I seen like the signs, whatever, and I was like, oh my god, like you could watch wrestling. So I remember ever since then, like I would go like every month. I would get the big like posters and
Yeah,
make posters for like my favorites. I would meet them like the wrestlers after and like the VIP. I'd be up on the guardrail and I was like religiously going. It was
yeah,
so much fun for me.
absolutely. What made you make the leap into wrestling then? Because it's not like wanting to be a doctor or wanting to be something else. Like it's pretty ballsy thing to go into.
Oh yeah, no, I know. Well, for me, like I always grew up like being in front of crowds. I liked modeling, I liked acting, performing, just being in front of people. I definitely was not athletic. I did gymnastics for a little bit as a kid, but nothing else that I would be like, oh, I could be a wrestler. Like it wasn't like, me looking at the TV and being like, I could do that one day. No, it was definitely like I said, being a fan and like being on the guardrail. And I realized I'm like, this is like theater. Like this is like it's a way to express yourself in a story, and being able to feed off of the crowd and having people watching you and having people cheer for you and boo for you, that really sparked my interest. And I remember like I was probably like 18, 19, and I was thinking like, you know what, I could do this, you know, if I actually try, if you know, I actually put my thoughts into it, that this is something that I would like to do. And the moment I started doing it, I fell in love with being in front of the crowd, being in the atmosphere, and just being able to put on a show for people. um, I feel like, you know, that's kind of what, like, you know, did it for me.
Yeah, for sure. How'd you get into business? You have an in, or you just showed up one day, or you just Googled it on near school and just showed up at the school, give them a call?
Yeah. No, it was one of the first place I went to was not a good. We don't like to talk about that. But my mom, she when you know when she was alive, she's always supportive of me, and she helped me find a school. She helped me look through everything, and we went to a place in Orlando. I didn't really have any. I didn't know anybody. Don't I never had an in or anything like that. I just decided to start training, and then went from that school, and then started going and doing shows and learning from other places and other, you know, areas. And that's kind of just where I've been, you know.
Yeah. You're a natural since day one?
I will know. I literally like I wanted to quit. I wanted to quit the day I learned how to take a bump, because like I didn't even learn how to take a bump. Like I I'm trying to like process like how am I willingly gonna like throw my body around, like I've never done this before. And I legit got in the car with my mom and I cried, and she was like, "You're really gonna quit?" I'd be like, "No, get your shit together, girlie. Like
Yeah.
you've never done this before. You had to learn how to walk, you know, like so you have to learn how to do things." So she definitely motivated me. I wasn't definitely not a day one though. There's still a lot of things that I look at people in the ring and I'm like, I am not athletic. Like, who knew?
Yeah. That's what someone else is a couple of people said, that the whole falling on the back and like getting used to that, because it's not a normal feeling at all.
It's not a natural, you know, reaction, and especially when you're first starting off very timid, very scared, and you have somebody like literally like somebody behind you, and the coach is like shoving you, pushing you, telling you just throw your feet back, throw your feet back. I'm like, I can't throw
Yeah.
my feet back.
Yeah.
I'm trying to save myself from hurting myself. And then you got to tuck your chin, you got to do, oh god, let's, oh goodness gracious. It's a lot for me, but I
you
did
named
it. I did it.
you made it through, especially 6 years into it.
Yeah, I made it. I've taken a couple bumps since then, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. You've named two trainers. What's the biggest thing you took from each one of them?
Huh. Um, I definitely, when I got the opportunity to learn under from Pops and to train at WXW for a little bit, you know, I definitely learned that it takes a lot of heart, and it takes a lot of like, it's you really, like I've learned that like it's a lot that you have to provide for, like, you know, yourself, and you have to be able to bring it out in you. Nobody else is going to be able to do that. So
Yeah.
I've definitely learned a lot, that it takes a lot of heart and trust in yourself from them. And then like I've gotten the opportunity as well to like train with like Jay Lethal and learn from him, and getting in the ring with him is also like, it's just like he'll, if you tell him like one thing, he can tell you a million different ways on how to do this and do that. And his brain is just so like easily, like, what is the word I'm looking for, like very very open, like very, you can definitely pick his brain a lot with just like
Yeah.
everything with wrestling. So I'm very grateful for being able to like get critiques and like learn from him as well. I definitely learned a lot from that.
No, that's cool having people like that to show you the way.
Yeah, I wish I had more of like, and I've talked about this before, especially as like a young girl, like and you asked me like if I had an in or anything like that, like being young and like in the business and not having a bunch of, when I was first coming around, I didn't really get that opportunity to have a bunch of people to like mentor me, like, you know, like I especially like with women, it was kind of like, oh yeah, just another girl just showed up in the scene. Or really, I felt like, and I'm not like trying to like shit on anything, but I do wish that I had a little bit more of like the mentors and like the
Yeah.
guides, you know, guidance and like what to do. And like, I mean, now it's coming around, but like, especially when I first started, I definitely wish I had more of that, because people ask me questions, and I'm like, well, I wish I had more of a relationship with my coach. My very first coach is, I don't name, don't talk
Yeah.
about that. It's not a good experience, things like that. And I definitely felt like I've missed out on a lot of those kind of, experiences because I didn't have that kind of mentorship that I wanted. But I'm always learning, and I'm still always trying to listen for, people around me, and I'm always open to hear things. So it's a learning experience still as we go. We never stop learning.
Yeah, no, those first couple of years are crucial too. So they have someone in there, pumping you full of information. But I mean, you're killing it. So I mean, it all worked out anyways.
Thank you, thank you. Everything happens for a reason. That's what I always say.
Yeah, yeah. When you first break in, was you have an embarrassing name, or you always been Lexi Gomez?
Yes, I did actually. This is a funny question. I actually had two. Well, I wouldn't say it's embarrassing, but I definitely had the name The Unbreakable Lexi Gomez for the longest time. And I definitely did not dig into that. It really just sounded cool to me. Like,
Yeah.
it was no character. Like, now, the Hollywood Horror, I've definitely come to my own character, the star of the show. Like, I've had my own nicknames, and like, where like I actually can back it up. When I was just The Unbreakable, I always cringe when I think about that. I'm like, girl, how are you unbreakable? You just lost. Like, I think that makes sense. And I'd come out with my little cat ears that made absolutely no sense. But I was a huge Ariana Grande fan, and I thought they were cute, and I had a lot of them. So that's super cringy, super embarrassing. And then on top of that, and I never talk about this, so this is like diving deep. This was like when I first started, I did a show with this one guy who was creating like a TV show for wrestlers and never got picked up or whatever, but he was making like characters like based off of like wrestling, and he wanted to use me, and I was training. He wanted to use me, but they gave me a different name. And with me being like new, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is normal. That's what we do. But no, it was on a regular show. It was booked on a show where I would wrestle again as my actual self. But they gave me the name Diamond Valentina. And I won a crown. Okay, I was like the queen. It wasn't a belt. It was a crown, and I was Diamond Valentina one time and one time only. Have you ever seen Lexi Gomez and Diamond Valentina in the same? And I can't ever. I literally like this. That's so cringy to me. And I, for the longest time, I just like wanted to block that out of my memory. But I'm really glad you brought that up. That's I'm gonna think about it for the rest of the
That's a
night.
good one. That's a good one.
That's my secret. My double side, Diamond Valentina. We
So
don't
how'd you
talk
come up
about
with
her.
the horror show then? What was the influence behind that?
So I started working a lot with Pro Wrestling Action, and Simon Says he's actually a huge like impact and help with me with building the Hollywood Harbor and my character. Because I remember I went there and I was still the unbreakable Lexi Gomez. I know that I've always wanted to be. I've always been a huge horror fan. I've always loved scary movies, horror movies growing up ever since I was a little girl. I was 5 years old. Shouldn't have been watching Bride of Chucky, but you know what? I was, oh well. Um, so I know that when I was the Unbreakable Lexi Gomez, I know that, like I said, it wasn't really like a character. It was just a name. There wasn't anything I could do to back up with it, and I just didn't feel like I was just like another wrestler. So I started going there, and he started helping me dig into like I've always wanted to be darker and like the spookier type of uh, wrestler. I've always liked the dark type. And so we just started like talking, and he would, give me ideas and help me with promos and, help me with this and that until eventually, like, I'm like, well, the Hollywood Horror, like, I love horror movies. I'm going for the old Hollywood-esque, like, star of the show. And eventually, as I've gotten more and more, and I still, like, now, every show that I do, I find a little bit more of, like, a character inside of me where like I can find little bits and pieces where now I call myself the star of the show, the cinema sickness, the horror
Yeah.
icon. Like I truly like I have all of these where like it feels like I can back it up, and because like I put a lot of work into like my promos and my editing and storytelling, and I can do that in the ring now with this character and with this persona, and I definitely give a lot to him for that. And Pro Wrestling Action, working with Dean Taylor as my manager, like it helps bring out a lot of character in me that helps me bring it to life, and it's really just like me amped up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And it's working too because you definitely stand out amongst the crowd.
thank you, I appreciate that.
What would you describe your ring style as?
I would definitely like to say I feel like I'm more like strong style. I've tried out, like I'm not very much of a flyer. I can't do lucha. I'm not very technical, or like I don't do a lot of submissions. I definitely loved like the heavy hitting, hard hitting, hit me with all you got. I'm gonna hit you back 100%. Um, Definitely strong style, powerlifting. I got some muscles, I'll be throwing these girls around. I'm
Yeah,
short but mighty.
I just saw you and Teeny. I want to say you guys beat the shit out of each other, slapped the shit out of each other for sure.
Every time, every time.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I'm not walking away with like a bruised up chest. I don't want it.
What's your finisher?
It is a sit out power bomb. We call it under pressure because I give it to the girls and I make them feel under pressure. Also an O2 Queen because it's one of my favorite bands.
Okay. What's been your favorite moment so far?
My favorite moment so far. Well, this year I've gotten I've had a lot of fun matches this year. Like I've been busy this year. My one of my favorite moments though, I definitely was this past pro wrestling action show where we did the first ever intergender trick or treat street fight, and I ended up going through a candy corn board table. It was a board with candy corn spikes. It's crazy to talk. It's hard to put into words, but I got speared through that, and then my partner got power bombed through a flat screen TV, and it was so much fun. It was definitely one of my favorite moments in wrestling. Um, I love Halloween, so I was
Yeah.
thriving. It was a perfect time. I definitely really enjoyed that. I would definitely have to say though, like from overall my whole career, um, mostly for like little girl Lex, like one of the biggest accomplishments that I've done was being able to like walk down the same ramp of like when I did Impact Wrestling. Like I was an extra for Sue Young. I was one of the Undead Bridesmaids. And this was when maybe like a year, I want to say, within me training and doing shows. So I
Yeah.
was still really freshly new, but it was just so surreal for me to be able to like look over at the railing where I was talking about earlier, where I would sit there with my posters and I would ask for high fives. And now I'm on the other side and I'm walking down and being a part of like a crazy ass story. Like this is so cool to me. And I always feel like so grateful for like those kind of opportunities. Of course, like I'm grateful for all the opportunities I've had, but like just little moments like that, I always remember, when I'm thinking about it, like, oh, I could be doing so much more. I could be doing this. But like you got to think like you've made yourself happy with just like this. Like you make yourself happy, so you have so much more time to go, and you have so many more opportunities and experiences to do, and it's definitely, yeah, one of the top ones for me right there.
Yeah, you gotta think about it too, because the majority of people will never ever experience anything like that in their life, in terms
Right.
of having their dreams come true in any type of way.
It's so crazy to me because I was just talking about that the other day to someone who, not in like the wrestling, like she just knows me, and she was telling me like it's so crazy that you picked wrestling, as your career, and she was like, you should be proud because like you're like a little kid and like you're living out your dream. And I don't really stop and think about that.
Yeah.
I really did do what I wanted to do as a little kid. I get up, I get to be able to perform in front of people, and like there's little kids that are watching me that are probably like, oh my God, I want to do that. And it's so crazy for me to think about. Like, wow, I am doing that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
good job, Lex.
Good job for sure.
Yeah.
If no one's ever seen a match of yours, what would you tell them to go watch?
Nobody ever seen a match. Ooh, this one would be probably I wrestled for WWN, so like a Battle of the Belt show, and it was me versus the Woad, and that is by far one of my favorite matches to this date. I want to say it was about 2 years ago, maybe three, um, but I remember like every bit of it, and it's still like probably my top five favorite matches. So I would go watch that one. You can watch that on WWN, or you watch it on YouTube.
Go check it out.
Yes, I
You've
love
been
it. I want a rematch.
you heard it here. Give it a rematch. You've been Pride of Wrestling champion for what, over a year now, right?
Over a year, yes, yes. I cashed in my contract. I won an open contract um, about a year ago, and I cashed it in over on Audi Rex. and I have been dominating the women's division ever since. I have my Hollywood Horror open casting calls. I just wrestled Sarah Leon from Spain. Spain, yeah, I wrestled her. But now I have a little tiff. Mercedes wants to come in here and challenge me, so she accepted my next Hollywood Horror casting call for my belts. So we'll see how that goes.
You a little worried about that because she's tough.
She is tough. She is an OG baddie, but you know what? I'm not worried. You know, I'm up for a little challenge. All these other girls that I've had to deal with for the past few months, you know, they're just not stepping up to the plate enough. So if she's gonna, you know, give me a run for my money, then let's do it. Let's have a banger. Let's blow the freaking roof off.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
that's someone for sure who trade blows with you.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. But I'm
Uh,
ready. I'm
yeah,
ready.
I'm ready too. I want to see that. And another one I want to see coming up November 29th, Brooksville, Florida. You, LaBrava Escobar for the Generation Championship, Women's Championship.
Oh yeah, that
Street
one is
fight,
gonna
right?
be fun. That one is gonna be fun. I know she did me dirty in the last show. I don't know if anybody was paying attention, but she wanted to hit me with my own weapon, and she took my belt. So this is personal. I'm coming out for vengeance for sure, and I'm gonna walk away with that belt, and I'm gonna add it to my collection. I'm gonna be like C4 belts. Yeah, you heard it here first. Like C4 belts.
What's the third one?
I'm also almost a year for the DCCW Women's Champion over in McLinney, Florida. Yeah, we have a show on December 14th. I'm not quite sure who I'm wrestling yet, but it will be a year. I think I won that belt last year in December, so we'll have that belt for a year as well. I've been defending it. You know, the last time I think I defended it was against Tiny Tonally. Love her,
Okay.
love her.
Always bangs with hers.
Yes, always, always. Ah, she's such a hard hitter. I love it. Got my AirPod.
And then Salazar actually was on here and he said he's hoping LaBrava whoops your ass in the winery in the grape sections of the winery.
I hope he's around. I hope he's around because he's gonna get some wine to his face. Oh, try me. Anything goes, Sal. Anything goes. Watch your back. Watch your
Look,
back.
looking,
Worry about your
looking,
girl.
looking forward to that one. January 26th, you'll be in Sanford for Pro Wrestling Actions Lightspeed. Ahead, you gonna defend your championship there?
I am definitely defending my championship. I'm, you know, it's gonna be announced soon. But you know, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. And
Pretty
also another championship that I've held for over a year. Wow, got me wet.
good job, good job. You're gonna
Thank
go into
you,
the new
thank
year
you.
with multiple championships.
Mm-hmm.
Before I let you go, you want to call anybody out? Talk some shit about anybody?
I'll call anybody out. Anybody, I'll talk shit about anybody. You know, come at me. You're in my inbox. You can meet me online. I'm here. I'm ready for it. 2025. You know, it's gonna be a good year. Very exciting. Can't wait to see what the new year brings. You guys definitely follow me on all of my social medias, Lexi Gomez. That way you can keep up to date with all of my upcoming shows, where you can find merch. Just keep up to date with all things Hollywood horror.
Check her out. Check her out. I'll put all the links down below.
Yes.
Thank you again for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. No, I had a lot of fun. I've been wanting to sit down and talk to you for a bit. So thanks for chit chatting with me.
Absolutely. We'll have you back on soon enough.
Yes, twins,
Thank you, folks.
twins.
Yeah, exactly. That wrestling dude, DOD. Check me out, like, subscribe. Thank you again for coming on.